We all know the Academy Award-winning film Forrest Gump, and in it you'll meet Lieutenant Dan, who is a disabled veteran struggling through his sacrifice to the country. The man behind the role is Gary Sinise, and who before and since has been working on behalf of military members, vets, and first responders.
His new memoir, Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service, follows the actor's journey and appreciation of our American heroes. Gary joins us now. Gary, great to have you.
How are you, sir? It's great to have you.
Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you've really been working tirelessly with veterans. I mean, from your foundation to the band, the Lieutenant Dan Band. This book is a whole new thing. What inspired you to write it?
Well, I've been to so many places over the years. Traveled pretty extensively for a couple of decades and supporting the military, and been to the war zones, been in the hospitals, met extraordinary people, been inspired by a lot of folks, played hundreds of concerts on military bases, and created a foundation and all that stuff. I started to look at it, and we were considering documenting it in some way. And then I thought, well, why don't we just figure out how I got there? And so we did a broader sort of autobiography that tracks my family history in the service and goes into my acting days as a high school kid struggling, and into founding a theater company, and then right into television and movies and the service work.
And it started with the photo that's right behind you, really. Growing up as a kid in Chicago, back then when you said you want to be an actor, a lot of parents are like, oh, no, not an actor. Well, what was the thing that drove you into the acting business at such a young age?
My parents were happy that I did.
Fantastic.
Because I was about to flunk out of school. So
Good. You can do something. This is great.
They found, he's got something. Yay. I was really a struggling kid, and I document that in Grateful American a little bit, and how once I found the theater department at the high school, things started to turn around for me, and I found this thing that I was really good at and loved, and ended up founding a theater company after that. And that's with a bunch of pals, and that theater company is Steppenwolf Theater, and it's about 45 years old now.
No kidding.
We own like 3 or 4 buildings.
How cool is that?
Started with little kids wanting to do plays. And a lot of that early history of Steppenwolf is in there.
It's just actually incredible that you were a part of that. I actually went to drama school, and I will tell you that when I got those Samuel French scripts, so many of them, when you'd open the first page, it would say this play premiered at Steppenwolf in Chicago. I mean, I know about Steppenwolf, so it's really incredible that you were there and part of what made that happen.
In those early 70s days, there were only a few theaters in Chicago. David Mamet had a theater there. Joe Mantegna had a theater there, and then we came along. There were about 10 at that time, and over the years, as Steppenwolf started to become more recognized and well-known internationally and everything, Chicago just started to, blossom, and there's probably 300 theaters there now.
Wow.
I mean, it's a great theater
remarkable.
town.
Now, you had a love of country since a young boy, but with the Lieutenant Dan role, it seemed as though a lot of the military community gravitated towards you after that role. Isn't that right?
Well, as I said, I have veterans in my family. In fact, that right on the left there, that's my grandfather. He served in World War I.
Wow.
Drove an ambulance in France. He had 3 sons. My dad in the middle there, he served in the Navy. His 2 older brothers served in World War II. So a lot of veterans in my family. All the veteran stuff kind of starts right there.
Yeah, of course.
But getting involved with Vietnam veterans in Chicago in the early 80s, that kind of generated a lot of interest for me and passion. And then playing Lieutenant Dan, Vietnam veteran in Forrest Gump, that really started me working with our wounded, because he was a wounded veteran, and I got involved with supporting our wounded after that. And then September 11th was the turning point. In fact, in Grateful American, there's a chapter called Turning Point, and it really is the switch that drove me full on into the service life that I'm in now.
No question.
I got so excited when Sean mentioned Forrest Gump, because I couldn't believe it's been 25 years this year.
This summer,
25
Oh my
years.
God, no.
No, we really are getting older.
Oh, that's awful.
It's unbelievable.
How old were you when you saw that movie?
I was 10, but let's not talk about it. It's remarkable that role that has really resonated all that time. It's pretty incredible. How fortunate were you feeling when you had the opportunity to take that?
When I read it, and it was to play the Vietnam veteran, you know, as I said, having Vietnam veterans in my family, on my wife's side of the family, having been involved with Vietnam veterans for a while, supporting them, the opportunity came along to play one, and I very much wanted to do it. Auditioned for it, then I didn't hear anything for about 3 weeks.
That's the way it works,
fun
yep.
3
So I
weeks.
thought, oh, that's gone. But it came back around, and I got the part, and it was career-changing and life-changing in a certain way.
And you know what I think is so touching is it was so important to you that Lieutenant Dan's storyline turned out positive. And that has really been a legacy for you in your work with veterans, that you are helping them find that positive, that life after their service.
I want them to have, if they're going to go off to war and they're going to get hurt and we're going to lose them, I want their families to know that they're supported and appreciated and remembered. These are our freedom providers. We've got to do everything we can to support them. And having met so many inspirational folks, and many of them are documented in the book, I've been motivated to just try to give back to them and do something for them. So that's why I created the Gary Sinise Foundation. And now we have programs that serve and honor the needs of our wounded, our Gold Star families. We provide entertainment, morale boosting, fundraising, all kinds of things. We build homes for our wounded, all kinds of things. And it's all documented in the book. And what I think is a entertaining read. There's some funny stuff in it, but also some very moving things in it.
Well, Gary, it's a
Gary,
pleasure having
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank
All
you.
right. And hey, while he's in town playing the Lieutenant Dan band.
Yes, up and Nellis is going to be
Hey.
great. Listen, the new memoir from Gary Sinise just released called Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service, available now wherever books are sold. To learn more about his foundation, visit GarySiniseFoundation.org.